ॐ ॐ यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रणोति तस्मै ब्रह्मदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशम् मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। वेदान्तार्थविभासकाय गुरवे शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादीनगेन्द्रसङ्गपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। सर्वतन्त्रस्वतन्त्राय सदात्माद्वैतवेदिने श्रीमते शङ्करार्याय वेदान्त गुरवे नमः। योऽवतीर्ण इहाचार्य रूपेण यतीनामुदे श्रीमन्नारायणं वन्दे तं हरिं करुणानिधिं। मननाख्यं प्रकरणं वासुदेव यतीश्वरैः विरचितं विस्तरेणाद्य संग्रहेण प्रकाश्यते। बालानाम् उपकाराय मम विज्ञानसिद्धये तत्र श्री बालगोपाल कृष्ण सन्निहितो भवेत्। रिकॉर्डिंग चल रहा है। An example was provided so that your understanding could mount on something that was either not understood properly or is altogether a new topic, something that is unknown or something that is not comprehended completely. And so thus, this is how an example or an illustration becomes helpful. What was the example that was given? And that is that you have the earthen cup, the oil, and the wick, without which the fire cannot appear. Though fire as an element is present in the wick through the oil, it is present, but it is unmanifest. So now that fire which is unmanifest, though present, is not capable of dispelling away the darkness. Nor are these three things together are capable of dispelling the darkness. So when does the darkness gets dispelled and the objects in the room are illumined? And that is when the fire becomes manifest on the varti, on that wick. So now सर्वत्र परिपूर्ण कारणाग्निः अपि एतत् साधनं विहाय केवलं स्वयमेव तमन्तःकारं नाशयितुं न शक्नोति। तथापि तद् वर्ति सम्बन्धी अग्निः दीपनामधेयः सन् अंधकारं बाधते. So now this Agni will be called as deep. When will it be called as deep? Flame? Only when that fire becomes manifest on the wick. Okay. So thus now it is called as flame. Now this flame is capable of illumining the objects in the room. Katapatadi padarthas which are lying over there, all these padarthas will be illuminated. So, evam, if that example you have understood, now in that example, how many elements that there are these all these three things, plus the fire which is sarva vyapak, unmanifest fire is vyapak. Yet, unless and until it becomes manifest as limited fire in the wick, as a flame, till then your work will not be done of illumination. And so, evam eva, so both these things you should remember. And that is the reason why, unless and until Sri Krishna arrives in the womb of Yashoda, the Dushta Samhara, etc., cannot take place. Like unless and until the Brahma becomes Arudha on the Vritti, Brahmakara Vritti. Like that. Evameva Prakrite Sthali Rupa Sharire. So in our, what Prakriti means? Dashtante. Prakriti in our topic of discussion. That what we are trying to understand. What are we trying to understand? Hmm? Exactly. Why Atma cannot be known by mind, cannot be illumined by mind. This is the topic. If you remember, this is where we have started. Evameva prakrute sthali rupe sharire. Now, in that discussion, now you have to make this thing fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. So, sthali rupa sharire. Now, in that cup, the earthen cup, you place this physical body. So over there, sthali rupa sharire, karma rupa tailena. Now that karma rupa taila means the oil is there, fuel. Tailena, uthapita varti rupam. Ah, now that varti, there is agni which is present on that varti. So what is there? Uthapita varti rupam. Rupam manasya. So what is that varti which is standing out is mind. Ah, Manasi Agni Rupa Atma Aruhya. Now, when the reflection of the self, the consciousness becomes available in the mind, reflection of the consciousness, and that reflection of the consciousness will be just as your reflection will be exactly like you, isn't it? Say, suppose you have a mirror which is as big as your size, then your reflection will also appear bigger. But say, suppose if that mirror is small in size, and yet in that small mirror also, you your whole body can be accommodated. In that reflection, you will see the whole body, isn't it? So it is there. So now it is the no limited, but it will determine that. But you will be seen exactly as you are in the reflection. So also the reflection of consciousness is also similar to consciousness, appears conscious, appears living, appears sentient. Ahamasmi, then that becomes that which is now this person, which is now available, this consciousness, which is available in the mind, now becomes something identifying with the body, mind, etc., becomes the person that I am so and so. So thus, aruhya, tad abhedena avastito jivanamapi. Now, the jiva, out of these three, is the sharira the jiva, or is the mind the jiva, or the consciousness the jiva, or reflected consciousness the jiva? Jiva is a phenomenon. If you are asked what is a rainbow, what will you say? That it is only the sunlight through those droplets, suspended droplets of water in the atmosphere, isn't it? So now out of these, is the sunlight the rainbow or the droplets the rainbow? So is it some sort of amalgamation of both? What is a rainbow? Is it like Nimbu Pani? So Nimbu Pani, you can say it is an amalgamation of Nimbu juice and water, sugar syrup. So there is something, but what is this rainbow? Hmm?
It is an appearance.
It is an appearance phenomena. So also this Jiva now, this one who is claiming, I am the doer, I am the experiencer, and goes about doing this, is what? That the body-mind complex with the reflection of the self in the mind and the consciousness as its substratum of all the three. Now, in this, the whole combination is, you call it as Jiva. And so now over here, what is he saying? Jivanamapi tad abhedena avasthito jivanamapi san tad tad vishayavaraka ajnana rupa andhakaram nirasya. Now, so also there is one more thing to be understood. Ajnanam, ignorance works like exactly like darkness. Darkness does nothing. All the objects in the room will be exactly in the place where they are. But when it is dark and there is no light, as if these objects now have disappeared, are not seen, the darkness hides them, covers them, conceals them, isn't it? So with ignorance also similar things happen. That the thing may be right in front of you, but because you do not know it, it remains concealed from you. Okay? When I was there with Swami Hansananji Maharaj, I told you, na, he told that, we were working and Swami used to love working. So he told, there's some Dharati or Gaithi Lega. No, I knew where the instruments were kept. Gaithi matlab, the crowbar. किसी को कहा कि गैंथी ले आओ. So I was prompt to go. Ajna, obedient. So then Swami said, तुमको पता है गैंथी क्या है? तुम्हें मिलेगी कैसे? Even if it is there in that room, how are you going to find it? So the object is there, you are seeing it, and yet it remains concealed from you because you do not. And therefore, darkness and ignorance have a similar property, and that is the property to conceal, to hide. Then, just as that flame, burning flame, now the fire, removes the darkness, so also consciousness, when is mounted on the mind, reflected in the mind, removes the ignorance. Okay? So, when you say knowledge removes the ignorance, it is the consciousness which removes the ignorance, and therefore consciousness and knowledge are synonymous. So, knowledge over here is not used to mean some sort of a cognition or an information. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So, Jnanam is meant to say Chaitanya, isn't it? So we have no problem using the word jnanam to mean consciousness. But those who do not understand this are going to say how knowledge can be consciousness. Knowledge is something that I am acquiring. But when we are saying that knowledge which is acquired, it is what? You are calling even that also as knowledge, that particular vritti cognition also as knowledge, because in that cognition also the reflected consciousness is removing the ignorance, and that's why as a formality you are calling even this cognition as knowledge. औपचारिकता से बोल रहे हो इसको, बट मुख्य अर्थ किसमें जाके बैठता है ज्ञान शब्द का? इन कॉन्शियसनेस. एंड सो एवं आवरकाज्ञानान्तःकारं निरस्य दीपः घटादि पदार्थान् इव बाह्याभ्यंतर पदार्थान् घटादि पद. Now what does that deepa do? That whatever are the ghatapatadi padarthas scattered in that room will be illumined by the deepa, by that flame. Similarly, the various padarthas, antar prapancha and bahya prapancha, will be illumined by this consciousness. Which consciousness now? The one which has mounted on the mind, meaning reflected in the mind. So now the cognition which is in form of ahamasmi becomes that light. Okay? And that's why there was this great saint from Bombay. He used to say that the closest thing that we can show you of God is the cognition ahamasmi, I am. Just ahamasmi, without any name, form, or any attributes attached to it.
The light itself is the cognition then.
Cognition means vritti, and vritti is something that belongs to the mind. Whereas consciousness is the light that is appearing in the cognition.
Achha.
So, Bhaya Abhyantara Padarthan Prakashayati. Further, Tasmad He Putra, Deepa Prakashaha Swabhasa Yatha Swayameva Prakashasan Swa Sambandhi Padarthanapi Prakashayati. Tasmad He Putra. And now, this is how even the teacher, out of affection, says, He Putra, Deepa Prakashaha Swabhasa Yatha Swayameva Prakashaha. Now, what is there about this Deepa Prakasha? Now you will require a Deepa in order to see the Padarthas in the room, the objects in the room. But will you require another Deepa to see this Deepa? Will you require another Deepa, another lamp to see this one? Why not? Swayameva Prakasha means Swabhasa, and by its own light illumines everything, and it is Swaprakasha. Not that it, just as the flame illumines the other objects, can you say that the flame is illumining itself? Why? Because that flame is illumination, Swaprakasha. Like that, this consciousness does not require any other source to illuminate, nor can you even say that it illumines itself, because it is of the nature of illumination. Okay? So it is not parasamvedya, not even swasamvedya. Keval jnana swarupa iti swayameva prakashaha san swasambandhi padarthan prakashati evam antakaranam aruhya swachaitanyenaiva prakashamana atmapi swasambandhi padarthan bahyan abhyantaranshcha prakashati ataha atmanishchit rupatvam siddham. Now, go back to the definition of what was defined, Lakshanam of Chidrupatva. What was it? Anybody remembers? If you can't remember, go back to the book. I don't mind you shuffling the pages. What have you found as the definition, as the lakshanam of Chidrupatva?
अत एव सूर्यादि प्रकाश पदार्थम मृच्छिलादि अप्रकाश पदार्थम च प्रकाशयति यद वस्तु तच्चित्.
क्या है? Go one by one. So there are two parts of the definition. What is that? How is it said? Suryadi saranantarapeksha. So now Suryadi saranantaram anapeksha. Surya, Chandra, Vidyut, etc. Vidyut meaning electricity.
Light, electricity.
So Suryadi saranantaram anapeksha swaprakasha san swasmit aropita sakala jagapadartham avbhasayati
Chit,
yat tad
chit, chit.
tat chidrupatvam. Huh? Now, it is for us to understand that when he says ataha atmanaha chidrupatvam siddham, that means now through this discussion, what you have to verify is that are both the aspects without which chidrupatva cannot be established, proven, are both those aspects found in the self or not? Swaprakashatvam is also there, and paraprakashakatvam also is there. You understand? Swap. It is not swaprakashya. It is swaprakash. Paraprakashakatvam is there. Then question is, have you found both these lakshanas, both these distinguishing characteristics in that what is brought to you, presented to you by the word I? And if this doesn't happen, then you will have to carry on your inquiry and you will have to carry on your contemplation till you see that this is what is the meaning of word I. So this lakshana should be brought to you. But Swami, we find that, I find that I'm a man, and happy, sad, so on and so forth. This is what seems to be the meaning of word I. And therefore, now we have to see that there are these 2-3 meanings of the word I that become available in your vyavahara. So when you say that this friend is myself, what do you mean? Mithyatma, amukhya. Amukhya, that is not what is the true meaning of that word, correct? You also know that. Otherwise, in Hindi also you say, na, ये तो मेरी जान है, जान. मतलब ये मेरा आत्मा है, ऐसे ही तुम दूसरे शब्दों में बोल रहे हो. ऐसे मतलब है क्या वो? अन्यथा जैसे वो हम in the fairy tales which we used to listen to in our childhood, that there was one Rakshasa and then he abducted one princess and brought her. But now you know that fellow could not be killed because he used to keep his Atma in a parrot. So when you're saying he is my Atma, she is my Atma, meri jaan hai, it means what? That in order to kill you, we'll have to kill him first. Huh? I said, so you know that there is no meaning to this sentence. So that is not the principal meaning of this word. Then comes, you are referring to this body-mind complex also in the word I. This body-mind complex also goes with the word I. But so now you have to see that is this body-mind complex really I, or is it assumed to be I for the transaction purpose? So something which is assumed to be like that for a transaction purpose is also not the principal meaning, isn't it? You know, when you play cricket, gully cricket. You know what is gully cricket?
Played
That
in
what we
the
play in our
low
streets.
streets.
Now there are these 10, 15 boys from that street. They come together. Then they make teams. It is our team, that is what our and their team. Is there something like yours? Now that division of yours and mine and my team and your team is what? Is only for the game to be played. Otherwise, there is nothing like my team, your team. They all are from the same thing. Isn't it? So when the game is finished, all of them are together. Nobody is standing with guns at each other. And they say, wow, this was fun because there was a great game. So brothers from the same house also can be in two opposite teams. So now, in order for that game to be played, there is this yours and mine and team versus your team versus my team and so on and so forth. So that is it is assumed. It is what? An assumed value. So it is not the intrinsic value. It is not really like that. Similarly, what do we find over here is that this body-mind complex is called as, with this word I. There seems to be association of the word I with this body-mind complex too. But is this body-mind complex I, or is it something, an object of experience of this I? What is one? If this is an object of experience, it cannot be I. And therefore, now this I, you will have to say, is something different. And that I, which is now you're not referring to this I as this body-mind complex or anything as ego, etc. Then there is consciousness, but is that consciousness means, does it have swaprakashatvam? Is it swaprakasha? And also paraprakasha, prakashaka, swaprakasha and paraprakashaka. Then you say, yes, sir, it is true. That self-awareness, ahamasmi, is evident, and that's why I am Swaprakasha. And I know this world. How do you know this world? In two categories. You know something is known, something is unknown, and that unknown is also known, and that's why the whole world is known at once by you. as known and unknown, viditam and aviditam. So now, are you not Swaprakasha? And are you also not Paraprakashaka? And if both these things you have found in this eye, that means this eye is Chidrupaha, because this is what is the Lakshanam of Chidrupa. Now, in order for you to identify somebody in the railway station, I tell you, that Mr. So and so is coming, Mr. Joshi is coming, you go and fetch him from the railway station. And he says, Swamiji, I have never seen this Joshi. Then I tell him that, he's a 6 feet tall man with a white thick mop of hair on the head. And he's going to be wearing a red jersey. And he's carrying a big backpack. You see. So now when you go to the railway station, there are thousands of people or dismounting or from the train, alighting from the train. But what is it that your eyes are looking for? Your eyes are looking for a tall man.
Those lakshanas.
With a red jersey.
With red jersey.
See for those lakshanas and then you identify. So when you find those lakshanas, that means you have found the lakshya. If you find the lakshanas, those characteristics, then you have found that lakshya.
Laksha.
Lakshya. So if you have found this swaprakashatvam and paraprakashakatvam in this eye, that means you now can be rest assured that this is what is the meaning of word Jnanam Chidrupaha. Chid. Consciousness. Okay? Huh? Shabda Pramanam only. There is no other Pramana which can take you there. No other, and that Shabda Pramanam is also which Shabda? Laukika Shabda will not take you. Shruti will be the only Pramanam. Now there, after the Shruti, now other Pramanas will come as Shrutya Anugami Pramanas. They will come. But how? But the real work of a Pramana is done by Shabda only, which is Shruti. You understand? They will come as Sahakari Pramanas, or they will come as Anugami Pramanas. But they independently do not have any power to show Atma. So now what have you found about this Atma is that this Atma is not something that is illumined by the mind, but instead Atma is that which illumines the mind. So now you are not looking for a concept of Atma, but your inquiry is what is it that is illumining this mind? You understand? So now you are not going to be satisfied with a concept, but you require what? Because Atma is not that which is illumined by the mind, but Atma is that which illumines the mind. So this is the answer to that question, that how can this Atma be known? This is the only way how it can be known. Atha Ananda Rupatvam Uchate. Now in that Lakshanam, that Swarupa Lakshanam, there are these three words, Sat, Chid and Ananda. Okay. Satchidanandatvam Atmanaha Swarupa Lakshanam. This is what we. What is Anandam? So, Atha Ananda Rupatvam Uchyate Katham Nityam Nirupadhikam Niratishayam Yat Sukham Tat Sa Anandaha. What is called as Ananda? It is basically Sukham. Now, please don't tell me that you don't know what is Sukham. You were very hungry when you returned back this afternoon. And with the food and the water that you had after half days of starvation, there was a great relief or not. Sukham. Sukham. So you know what is Sukham. But now in that Sukham, you are associating Sukham with what? The consumption of food and water. But can you now see this Sukham without any condition? You know, Swamiji, there is Sukham of money, there is Sukham of, comforts of taking bath with, hot water in a cold early morning, so on and so forth. Are not these Sukhas? One day somebody came to me and he said he was a little late to get married. And then he said, Swamiji, I'm getting married. So I asked, hey, why are you getting married? So he said, Swamiji, you don't know there is a joy of being a father. I said, you also do not know that. But, yeah. There were two people, this girl and a boy, who were living this live-in relationship. And they must have been in that about 7, 8 years they lived together like that. Then one day, that girl told that boy, I think we should get married. This boy said, that's true. I'm also thinking we should get married. But now, who will marry us? Nirupadhikam. So what now that Sukham, if you can understand that this Sukham, when it can be called as Nityam, it's not a flicker. Nityam, it's not temporary, not related to time. Nityam, so unconditioned by time. Nirupadhikam, without any upadhi, without any condition of any object. Niratishayam, and it is not something which can be compared as more or less. Now, tell me, what is it which cannot be called as more or less? There is only one thing which will not have any comparison, and that is infinite. Isn't it? What is more than infinity? And infinity minus one also is infinity only. So there is nothing like subtraction and addition in infinity. So this comparison, etc., is not possible, and so it is niratishaya. So that sukham which is nityam, that sukham which is nirupadhikam, that sukham which is niratishayam, that is what we call as anandam. That is the nature of the self. This is what is the nature of Paramatma. Satchidananda Rupaya Vishvodpatyadi Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Is it not it? This is how Srimad Bhagavatam also begins. So in one place there is Swarupa Lakshanam and then there is Tatastha Lakshanam. Sachidanandatvam is what? Swarupa Lakshanam. Vishvotpatyadi Hetave. Jagat Karanatvam is Tatastha Lakshanam. And knowing this Paramatma, what happens? Tapatraya Vinasha takes place. And so Tapatraya Vinasha, the Hetu of Tapatraya Vinasha is there in knowing. So why am I bowing down to Shri Krishna? Because through this salutations, through this my prostration, what will happen? Tapatraya, the three types of tapa. You know what are those three? Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, Adhyatmika tapas will be destroyed. Vinashaya, Shri Krishnaya, Vayam Numaha, we bow down. So now, if you generally people sing this song or shloka, but that bowing down over here inevitably will mean what is the nature of this bowing down? Knowing. It will be in the sense of knowing. And therefore, over here, the meaning of bowing down means knowing Shri Krishna. Tapatraya is destroyed. Back in Pune, many years ago, I was this freshly baked out of the brahmachari course and sent out. So I was already overwhelmed with people who are spiritual and all that. Okay. So then there used to be this group of all rich industrialists and businessmen. That was their spiritual club. I do not know what they did on the other days. But there was one day in a week or one day in the month they would gather. And there was one prominent fellow who was the industrialist there. Then they will sing his bhajans of Shri Krishna. And when he would sing, he will inevitably go in a bout of, such devotion that he's crying not only from the eyes, nose, ears, everywhere, wherever he can leak from, is leaking. And so then he would begin. Now, he will not do that till the mic comes to him. So it's a massive, nice, palatial thing. ACs are running from every side on Dasharisha. And so this fellow, the mic comes to him. And I'm like, poor thing, only one mark. Somebody said that, come in, sit and now go on. Then this fellow, Sachidananda Rupaya. No, it begins only with that way. His voice is choked and God knows how he can't do. Sachidananda Rupaya Tapatre Vina. Already crying. I said, why nobody is giving him some handkerchief? But then after he finishes that song and whatever mic goes from him, aye. What is the meaning of that word? Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Numaha means over here means that bowing down, but that word will take you to what? Knowing. Knowing this Sachidananda Vastu, what happens? Tapatraya is destroyed. And in order to destroy this Tapatraya, this is I'm knowing, I want to know, or I'm putting in efforts and I'm pursuing this knowledge. This is how I worship Shri Krishna. Okay. So, atha ananda rupatva uchyate nityam nirupadikam niratishayam yat sukham sa anandaha saeva atmanaha swarupam. And this ananda is atma swarupam. This is what is the nature of the self. Oh, Swamiji, I thought that I'm a good man, bad man. Oh no, good man, bad man, and all these things gone. What? But people say my real nature is something different. And your real nature, even they don't know. No, you don't know. And now that's why both of you are sitting over there. Like, we used to have Bapuji over there. When I used to live in the other side of the river, many years ago. So we had this Bapuji, one Mahatma used to be there. We used to call him Bapuji. And then there was Shankarananda who lived in next cottage. Both of them are, they come, what do they call it? Deaf. Deaf means not totally deaf at all. Bapuji, chai lenge? Eh? So then after that, 4 or 5 times you shout and all, then he will say, ha. So then this Shankarananda and Bapuji had a great friendship. Every afternoon they will sit 2 hours, they are talking to each other. And you had to listen to that conversation. And that conversation would be that one say, whatever the Shankarananda is saying, Bapuji is, they are totally different topics. Totally different topic. So it used to be an hilarious session. So, Atmana, so these people who are saying that I know your nature and your real nature, you are not a good person, you are like that, and you are very cunning, and you are doing this show and all. He also does not know, you also do not know, and you are like in conversation. So you are trying to convince that how good you are, and he or she is trying to convince you how good you are not. And then you spend your whole life in this tug of war, wanting to prove how good you are. She says, you are not that good. You want to prove. And she wants to prove the other way. Now what? So there is going to be loggerhead. So, saeva atmanaha swarupa. Ataha eva srakchandana vanitadi vishayebhyo jatam anityam sopadikam atishayayuktam yat sukham tad atmaswarupanando nabhati. Now, now, you cannot call this as Atma Swarupa. This is what? That which is appearance, which is an appear. What Sukham that you, but how is this rest of the Sukha which comes through Srak Chandana Vanita? Srak Chandana Vanita means somebody will say, oh, Swami, these are nice names. I will name all my 3 children Srak Chandana Vanita. Srak means garden. No, not garden, what? Garland. In the olden days, people used to decorate themselves with flowers. No? So flowers. So these items of decoration. Sarak, Chandan. Chandan means fragrance. And then Vanita. Vanita means Tri Sukha. So Sarak Chandan and Vanita di Vishayabhyo Chatam. So that Sukham which is born from all these things, basically conditioned. This joy is not what can be called as Ananda, and so is not Atmasvarupa. Sat, why? Because it is Anityam, because it is Anityam. Sopadhikam, there is some sort of a condition associated with it. Sopadhikam. Atishaya Yuktam. So we ate this ice cream, it was nice. That one which I ate in the streets of Milan, that. I tell you. Okay? So there is always going to be an atishaya. Uh, something to say that it was better, or that was something else was better, or this is better. So there is always an atishaya. So everything is there, and you still will have to say, but you know. So that but means that clause, but is going to put, it says that it is satishaya. So all these sukhas which you are experiencing through these, Sakchandana Manita, is it not anityam? It is anityam. Is it also not sopadikam? It is sopadikam. Is it not satishayam? It is satishayam. And therefore, though this is also sukham, but it cannot be called as ananda. Because ananda basically is sukham, but nityam, nirupadikam, niratishayam iti. Tasmat purvokta ananda eva atmaswarupam. And that's why when we are saying ananda is atmaswarupa, you have to understand we are not saying that what is generated through all these conditions. That kathamiti ched. But how can you say that what is niratishayam, nityam, nirupadikam is there is ananda and that is also atmaswarupa? Basically prove that there is something like this. That something which is uncreated. And that's why it is nityam. Something which is unconditioned. And niratishayam. Proof that there's something like that exists. Then we will see the next step that what is like this is Atma or not. Otherwise, there is nothing like this. Somebody who is going to say that there is, this is something that you are only creating, and so that people can be allured. Some simpletons can be allured. That's why you are all just creating this Shabdajad, the web of words. So now, here it is said that what we are saying, Nityam, Nirupadikam, Niratishayam, is not something which we are promising or will be had or something. It is there and it is your own nature. So it is not even far away from you. Just find out how you are. Is there any experience of yours in which you can say that I am, but this I does not have any condition to define it? With the condition of the body, you can define yourself as a man or a woman. With the condition of a body, you can define yourself as healthy or sick. With the condition of the body, you can define yourself as young or old, isn't it? With the condition of the mind, you can define yourself as whatever, bright, brilliant, or dull. You know? Huh? But is there any experience of yours where you can definitely say, I am, but none of these parameters were applicable to me there? So don't go even into samadhi. We are going to say you don't need to go. Oh no, you have to go into samadhi to it. No, your experience of
Sushupti?
deep sleep. Sushupti is there. So verify that what is my presence in Sushupti. The objects are not seen. The senses which receive these objects are also not seen, isn't it? The mind, the ego is also not there. So the absence of everything that you can call as world is seen. Because the world means not only the objects around you, but even the senses by which the objects are seen, illumined. And the objects are nothing but just five. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. That's all. Okay. So, objects, senses, the mind, the ego, nothing is there in the state of deep sleep. He will come to that, don't worry. Because Vedanta is not afraid of question. So even those doubts which you think, why these doubts are there also, will also be there. That's what we saw in Tattvanusandhanam. It may not be your doubt, but somebody else has already got that doubt, which means it is a doubt. So let's treat it. Let's resolve it. So over here, we are going to say in Sushupti, I am there because without me, who is illumining even the absence of everything? Because when I wake up to own this experience that there was absolutely vacant space. Nothing was there. You wake up and then you are asked, what did you, oh, what a nice sleep. What did you see? What was nice about it? Oh, there was nothing. What was nice about your sleep? What is your reply? There was nothing. When you are saying nothing means that nothing, that absence of everything was illumined by whom? So my presence cannot be denied. Right? So somebody is knocking the door from outside. कौन है? There's somebody sitting inside says कोई नहीं है जाओ. Salesman आया है कोई नहीं है. कोई नहीं है क्या तुम तो हो? That कोई नहीं है का अर्थ क्या होता है? I am. इति तत्कथ्यमिति सौषुप्तानंदे तत् सुखलक्षणस्य विद्यमानत्वात् तम आनंदम अहमेव इति विजानीहि. Now what we are going to see in the discussion next is Saushupta Ananda. Saushupta means the Ananda which is there in the Sushupti Avastha, deep sleep. Saushupta Ananda, Tat Sukha Lakshanasya Vidyamanatvat. Now, which Sukha Lakshanam are we talking about? That Sukham which is Nityam, Nirupadikam, Niradeshayam. This Lakshanam is discovered in the Saushupta Ananda. And therefore, that Ananda which is there in the Sushupti is Aham iti vijanihi. That is what you have to know. Janihi, no. Vijanihi, know it clearly. Okay, clearly means what now? Now, remove those, getting over those doubts will be the clarity of knowledge. Okay. All right, so we meet next to see this Saushuptananda. Okay. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharya Keshavam Badarayanam सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
पार्वतीपते हर हर महादेव। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।
उत्थान
होता
उत्थान संकल्प
मुरंबा छान होता
उत्थान
मुरंबा छान होता।